that we have with us today. It's always the time of the year that we look forward to hear about things going on in the state. And, you know, we're going to learn things like what is real money, I guarantee you. But anyway, before we get to that, we're going to start with our new CEO of Hospitality Tennessee. And so she wasn't able to make it at this last year, but we're so glad she's here today. And this is Sara, Beth, and we're going to enjoy hearing from her today. So thank you for coming out, Sara, Beth.
Oh, that's my clicker. All right. Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here. Today is April 5th, is that correct? I am 13 days away from my 1-year anniversary at Hospitality Tennessee. So thank you. Thank you. It's been amazing. I have loved every second of it. I won't lie. Tennessee is obviously a wonderful place to work in the hospitality and tourism industry. I'm a native from this area, or native from Nashville and native to Tennessee, and have just loved this. Y'all, it's just been so much fun. So I appreciate everyone here, your passion, your dedication. You make my job very fun and very easy at times. So I appreciate all of that. So with that, I'm going to kind of jump in and give a little bit of an overview of the state of the industry. Both the National Restaurant Association and the American Hotel and Lodging Association in the last few months have released their states of the industry for the entire country. So I wanted to share some of those insights with you so that you could get an idea of what we're predicting for 2023, what's coming down the pipeline for us. So wanted to start with our restaurants in the state of the industry. The National Restaurant Association made these wonderful slides for all of us to utilize, but I don't know if y'all know this, but the restaurant industry is headed to be a $997 billion industry in 2023. Huge numbers. I did the math like multiple times because I was like, that's right, it's almost $1 trillion. Is that right? Am I doing the math right? Yes, it's almost $1 trillion industry in the United States. So we're going to continue to see this just amazing growth that's going on. And what we've seen a lot of times too is what we're going to continue to see is those COVID pandemic things that happen where everyone started ordering takeout and doing to-go orders. That's going to continue. 60% of adults are more likely to order takeout, and they're going to continue using technology to do that. They're going to continue to want to use their phone to get on the line. They're not necessarily going to want to make the phone call. Although I can't remember who it was we were talking to said that their wife has to continue to make the call because she's like Meg Ryan in she orders it takes her forever to order. So they can't order online. They have to still make the phone calls, which I loved that. But we'll continue to see those trends going on. And of course, because there's this pent up demand across the nation, we're still continuing to see that. It's almost, we kind of called it the revenge travel for a while. It's still revenge eating out to a degree too. We were cooped up for so long and people are still wanting to get out. So what that means is we're going to see a lot more competition. Our restaurateurs are very ready and able to take that on. But with all of those new restaurants coming online to meet that pent up demand, we're going to continue to see that competition rise. One of my favorite stats was this one, which I love. 84% of consumers say a restaurant is a better use of their leisure time than cooking and cleaning up. Now, I am a mom of 2 boys. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I am 100% behind this. It's funny. The other day we took with a 6 and a 3-year-old, we don't go out a lot with them. We mainly order in, but we did take them to their first trip to Waffle House last week. And that is my youngest, and you see that unbelievable joy on his face and that he is so excited to be at a restaurant and absolutely loves it. But what you don't see is my face, which is equally as ecstatic, because not only is he eating the food that's in front of him, but I also don't have to clean it up later. So I definitely understand the 84% of people who would rather go out to eat. And I just think if you look at our restaurants that we have across Tennessee, I had a fantastic dinner with Chris Massey last night at Seasons 101. We have just some amazing places with the service that you get, the hospitality. It's just such a wonderful place to be. And we're going to continue to see that growth. The food service industry is expected to add 500,000 jobs this year alone, making it up to 15.5 million people working in the restaurant industry. So things are looking great. Obviously, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. We're going to continue to see some of those supply chain issues. Inflation is still going to be up. But by and large, what we're looking at for our restaurant industry is very, very positive for 2023. So let's kind of pivot a little bit and take a look at that state of the industry for lodging. So I wanted to pull, I've got my phone up here so I can pull some of these numbers really fast because I wanted to make sure I got this right. But they pulled some numbers for Tennessee. So we have over 1,500 hotel properties in the state of Tennessee. And that equals 37,000 people directly employed at hotels in Tennessee, with over 150,000 people indirectly, all included. Which means $4.6 billion in room revenue in the state of Tennessee for 2022, and over $850 million of those went back to state and local taxes directly. So we are a huge part of this industry in Tennessee, and I just wanted to hit those and talk about how great it's going and how much we're rebounding. Across the nation, we're going to continue to see strong growth. Meetings and events are coming back strong. If we look at meeting planners across the nation, 70% of them are saying that they're actively looking to host meetings in person again. And of those, 60% are saying that their budgets are larger than they were last year. So we're super excited to see that. Of course, it comes with its own set of challenges in that they're looking for different experiences now. They want enhanced engagement, they want personalization for their organization, and they want more unique opportunities to network. They also are going to continue to do those hybrid meeting events. What we're seeing time and again is that they still want to be able to offer that virtual option for people who can't attend in person. So we're continuing to see that. And then additionally, there's a new factor that's kind of coming in, and that is environmental and social responsibility. So they're not just looking for sustainability. What are you doing to recycle? What are you doing to, reduce your carbon footprint? They also want to know what you're doing in your local community to help create that community, to help support it, to help make sure that the place that you live, that you operate in, that it continues to thrive. So it's so funny seeing all of you guys here today and the dedication that you have. It's talking about the boards you serve on. It's talking about the volunteer hours that your staff puts in. It's talking about all those different things. They want to know that you're giving back locally in addition to wanting their business. And I thought that was a really interesting factor that people are taking into consideration for meetings. Of course, again, with our hotel industry, we're still not going to see 100% rebound. There's still a very tight labor market. Product availability. Our manufacturing industry has seen a lot of rebound in their labor pools, but it's still going to we're still going to have shortage in supply chains. And then we obviously still have a high product demand because there's all this pent up travel still. People want to get out, they want to spend money. And so we're going to continue to have product availability issues. And then obviously we have a lot of challenges that go across the Russia-Ukraine war and the energy oil crisis, as well as some transportation challenges with freights coming in from China and train delays. We've all seen some of the train accidents that have happened lately. So there's going to be challenges in 2023 like there are in every year. But as far as our consumer preferences go, I thought these stats were just so cool. 45% of people are choosing their hotel based off cleanliness and safety protocols these days. Now, price is still a top factor. So if you look at that number, however, what that doesn't show is that in 2019, before the pandemic, it was 67% had price as their top factor. So that number's gone down. So that's where all of these things, amenities that you're offering, safety and cleaning protocols, all of those kinds of things, that's where that's coming in as a factor. They're willing to spend a little bit more if they know their money is going for a good cause. And then another one, I know it's a small number, but I thought this was interesting. 11% ranked sustainability in their top 3 factors in choosing a hotel. So price, cleanliness, and then sustainability for 11%. And that has doubled in the past year. So last year it was just 5%, now it's 11%. And I very much think, and what we've kind of looked at is that is coming from the next generation. That is coming from Gen Z. They're going to have a whole new set of factors that they want as part of their hotel experience. And so one of the things they're going to be looking for is that sustainability, not only environmentally, but also socially. How are you giving back to the community? They're going to want to continue to see that inclusiveness, the diversity. They're going to want to feel like their travel means something in addition to getting leisure time. So as a kind of an overview look, no signs of travel slowing down in 2023. It is going to continue to climb. And we are going to continue to have the issue where we have a workforce shortage. We're going to, with every single sector growing, we're going to continue to see people struggling to fill those positions. But I think there's a way to look at it from a different perspective. I was listening to a podcast the other day that was giving updates on the hospitality industry. And one of the things they mentioned was that Hilton had recently released their top brand strategy. And the number one thing they valued in their brand strategy was their workforce satisfaction. The number one thing they look at is trying to make sure that their employees are happy and satisfied and taken care of, and made sure that they feel like they are an important part of the brand and of their hotel. I thought that was a really interesting way to look at it, because I don't know that we always think about it in that terms, about putting workforce happiness up at the top. But I loved that that came out, and that's going to be the key to maintaining those people, getting them in those positions, and making sure that people continue to feel like a valued part of the organization. With so many people that were laid off during the pandemic, it was very easy for those people to feel like they weren't valued, that they weren't important. So turning that on head and really focusing in on that, I think, is going to do wonders for our industry and really help us maintain those employees and then also attract new ones. Of course, again, as I mentioned, people are willing to pay more to travel and support sustainability, especially if they know where their money's going. So making sure that you're using your PR campaigns to not only talk about all of the amazing things that you have to offer, but what you're doing to give back to your community, what you're doing to continue those efforts in sustainability. And of course, how does Hospitality Tennessee support that? I can't get off the stage without talking about that. This has been an amazing association working here for a year now. I love the board members that are here today. I love Terry drove all the way from Memphis, and I'm so excited to see you here. So what are we doing? What is my team doing? What are we working on to make sure that you guys are prepared for what's coming up in 2023? And I think the first thing is looking at training that next generation. If you have never been to a Tennessee Pro Start competition, I highly recommend that you reach out to our team and either come and volunteer or come and watch it. I got to experience my first one this year, and seeing those culinary students get up there, they're high school students, and seeing the food that they're able to prepare and the management projects that they're able to put together was inspiring. It was so inspiring for the next generation, knowing that these are going to be our leaders. These are going to be people that come into the industry and run restaurants and run hotels and create concepts. They had food trucks. They had, you name it. They just had all of these amazing ideas. And it was a fantastic effort, and just so much fun. And then when you look at all of those other programs that we do, we partner with colleges and universities. And I'm an adjunct myself right now at MTSU in their hospitality and tourism management program. And just looking at that next generation that's coming up, they're there, they're ready. They're just getting the training that they need, and trying to get ready to come out into the workforce. And it's very exciting to see them. And that's a big focus for us, is we're trying to make sure that those people are ready to come in and serve at your places of business and help out. We're also attempting to bring experts to you. That's a big thing for us, is trying to find who are the best people to talk to the industry and tell them what's going on, whether that's at Governor's Conference, whether that's at our legal symposium that we do in the summer. We're trying to find the best people, whether that's Commissioner Ezell today, come in and bring in some wisdom from the state, trying to bring those people who can tell you what's going on and how to help you grow your business. And then obviously keeping you informed, whether it's, doing presentations from states of the industry, from the NRA and AHLA, to just communicating with you on our what's going on at the legislative session each week from, our lobbyist, Dan Haskell, and just making sure that you know that we're out there fighting for you each and every day. And then obviously advocating for you. We're up at the Hill. We've got 2 lobbyists up there right now, and just monitoring things and keeping things going and moving things in the right direction for our industry, and making sure that the legislature knows that we are the number 2 industry in the state and that we're a force to be reckoned with. And so we will continue to do those things, and we will continue to ask on a daily basis, how can we help you? So with that, I will hand it off. Appreciate you guys letting me come out today.
No problem, right? Good. Well, and I do want to say how much I appreciate Dave Jones and the work that he is in. Dave, where are you? If you'll please stand and be recognized. Where are you, Dave?
I think there.
Yes, in the back of the room. From our team.
I didn't recognize you. I'm sorry.
So I wanted to
Hold
I
the grudge.
appreciate Leon's prayer this morning. It has been a really hard week last week for the whole state, literally all the way across the state. We've had lots of sadness. Certainly, me being from Nashville and knowing a number of the folks that were involved in that school, it's been a sad season for us. So keep all of those people in your prayers if you don't mind. I do want to hop in and kind of talk a little bit about tourism. Tell me if you were here the last time that I spoke. It's probably 6 months ago. Raise your hand. All right, so a lot of you. Okay, well, I tried to have some new slides and a little bit of new information so that we can kind of update you about tourism. But I want to shift gears and just say, because when we get to talk about tourism, it's an exciting time in this industry in Tennessee, and no one is doing a better job leading that effort than the folks here in Sevier County. And if there's one message that I want to get across today is a huge thank you. What the state is supposed to do is be supporting you, and certainly even with Hospitality TN, their job with Wayne and Sara Beth is to support you and the efforts that you are doing. So I'm going to hit a couple of recap slides, and then just to kind of reset the stage. If you remember in 2020, it was our difficult year. We had a 31% decrease. Again, because of the folks in East Tennessee, that number beat the national average of 42% down. Because again, this group continued to see visitors during the 2020 year, and we are so grateful. And then if you'll remember in 2021, the last time I was here, we got to really brag, not only were we not down as much, but our bounce was bigger than the national average also. We call it taking bacon from another man's hog. And again, because of you, we are continuing to grow market share in Tennessee at the expense of our partners. And that's what by that I mean our state partners, because we want them to come to Tennessee. So thank you again for the work. And you can see we've had a terrific run, including last year in 2021, the highest domestic spending in the state's history. Again, not many states across the nation got to talk about that in 21. I've got some updated information in 22 in just a minute, but because again of the work that you did, the people that have to get up and make payrolls and do all the work to get folks in and to take care of those visitors, because of the work that East Tennessee did, despite Nashville and Memphis still being in that 93% kind of range, East Tennessee, Sevier County in particular, carried the day and allowed us to have the highest tax savings for Tennesseans that we ever have in our history. That's important when I'm trying to talk to them about budgets. I'm trying to say how tourism is good, and obviously in Sevier County, that number's in the thousands of dollars per average Tennessean. So I'd like to have Angela and Leon and Chad and I think Tony, if y'all will come up for this next slide. And we could be thanking everybody in the room, but I'm grabbing the four from our Tourism Alliance. Come on up on stage. I just want to do this next slide. We're working on some information that we're taking to some folks that don't live in Tennessee. And we're just trying to help them about Sevier County. And rumor has it that I enjoy data. And so Josh Gibson and his team's been working. So one of these slides we're going to be showing pretty soon is how Sevier County stacks up against some people that they might know about. So $3.4 billion was Tourism Economics' 2021 number. When we talk about Mecklenburg County and Charlotte, North Carolina, they go, oh, that's big. Well, it's about $4 billion. Or Shelby County in Memphis is $3.5 billion. Or Savannah, Georgia, that's where everybody's going, is under $3 billion. Or Sacramento, California, out in California, everybody's going to California to a vacation. Well, that's less than Sevier County. Or even our friends at Yosemite with Fresno, and that collection is $2 billion. So I would like to have us, because it turns out that they book all the people, or most of the people. Y'all got convention centers, so you're okay, fine. But I'd like for us to give them a hand for a great job, and then if y'all will turn around and give them a hand. So we'll start. All right, now y'all do. I'm going to steal over here and get a quick pic with this group just because all of you are a part of this, but are you impressed? And what we think is we're going to impress some folks that are looking at this on a national basis. All right, so thank y'all. Leisure and hospitality is the fastest growing job segment, as Sarah Beth mentioned. And I just wanted to point out somebody. Brian, would you stand? This is Brian Vaughn. And Brian, we had a group get together. We believe in tourism. Sevier County, yes, you're going to hear us talk in a minute about how we're trying to help with demand. But really and truthfully, y'all do such a powerful job. One of the things that we think we can help at the state is to help in infrastructure. Because helping get you folks in the work supply, and then we're going to talk in a minute about this little thing called roads. We think you'll care about that too. But Sarah Beth and Wayne Smith and Brian all got together with Commissioner Thomas, and I know she was here yesterday, is what I heard. But we had her meet for several hours with a group put together by Hospitality TN. And the leader of all of workforce and labor for the state of Tennessee brought their regional directors together for a several-hour meeting to say, how can we better in the next 3 or 4 years partner our private industry with the group who is charged at a state level, and that's the Department of Labor and Workforce, to find more people for the workforce. Brian is your leader in East Tennessee. I didn't even know he was coming. But Brian, thank you, and we look forward to working with you and our teams. I know Wayne is leading that effort from Hospitality TN. Please recognize what this group's going to be getting done with your help. No pressure. No pressure. I think we need a couple 100,000 additional people, but no pressure. So, one of the reasons why Commissioner Thomas got so excited is because we got some 22 information that a lot of the world hasn't seen, and we do have some brochures if you want to see it, what we gave to our legislators. But we're constantly talking about the value of tourism because tourism is real money. That's pretty weak, but we'll get back to it. With all of your help, now we do have residents in this in that they also use our restaurants, but this is restaurants, eating, drinking, and it's hotels and amusements and attractions. Again, y'all, this is not a survey. This is from the Department of Revenue, counting the state sales taxes that are brought in from those three groups last year. It's $1.76 billion. It's $260 million more than last year. Think about that. Again, how many, raise your hand if you're in the leisure and hospitality industry. That ought to be about everybody in the room. Literally, y'all, when you're walking by neighbors, just say, you're welcome. We're talking about an 18% increase. Yes, we had a lot of inflation last year. But think about that half that money goes to the education for Tennesseans. Most of this money is not going to tourism. Our budget's less than $40 million. Take $40 million out of $1.76 billion. What do you have left? A lot. So thank you. And in Sevier County, you had a terrific year again on top of a major accomplishment in 2021. And in fact, totaling almost $180 million in state sales taxes. About 10%. You're one of 95 counties, but delivering more than 10%. So can I just say thank you? Thank you for what you are bringing for Tennesseans. And short-term rentals. Just want to make sure everybody realizes what happened 2 years ago when online marketplace went in and the state of Tennessee started collecting for that. The online sales taxes is bringing, just in Sevier County, to state government an additional $1.2 million. $14 million of the roughly $50 million is coming from y'all. So again, thank you for what you're doing. And this is why we can use taxpayer dollars to be supporting what you are doing, because we're getting money from a visitor that saves us money. So our job's building the brands. We showed you this map 6 months ago. I just wanted to recap, making sure you realize that the state of Tennessee, for the first time ever, starting in 2021 and 2022, started going to markets that we think you really care about. Got to visit recently with Leon, and we talked about the Carolinas. We talked about Washington, D.C. We talked about contiguous states. So we are spending time marketing, and we'll talk in just a minute. I'm going to briefly hit just a couple of things that we're talking about, but certainly Sevier County is a huge win in that. Or our Florida market coming back up here. And then this year, we added markets we think are really important in this area, like Baltimore, or Charleston, or Jacksonville, including not only the whole state of Illinois. That's over 11 million people that we are now talking to, telling them about the great assets. And when I look across here and I see, the largest attraction in the state of Tennessee in Dollywood hitting 3 million, or some museums and others that I see, Marion, a whole bunch of others. Now I've started calling names. That's not good. But I just want to say thank you for the tremendous amount of work that you are doing, and you hoteliers and your restaurant owners that are taking care of all those visitors that are coming. Please know we are trying to send people to Tennessee, talking about their vacation now playing, talking about spring break. We listen. Those 4 people that came up here are really important as input people into our group. I remember the folks in Gatlinburg in particular were saying, I don't think you advertise to us. You don't start early enough in the year. Well, we started this year 5 weeks earlier than we've ever started in the state's last 7 or 8 years. Why? Because Sevier County said spring break's really important to us and y'all need to get there earlier. So we started earlier because we listened to those experts that you see and several others. And we get to talk about these kid reviewed, and nobody's got more kid reviewed. I won't read them all, but nobody's got more kid reviewed places in Tennessee. You have more than 10 of the more than 30 that we have. And again, it's our privilege and honor to be telling people about the great family attractions. Our Tennessee Songwriters Week, we know that Elijah Wise won in Gatlinburg. I think he was at the Pines Downtown in Sevierville, where he won in his group. And he got to play just a week and a half ago. We got to see him on Sunday with music executives and the deputy governor and others as he sang for the first time on the Bluebird stage. Things like Songwriters Week that Jill Kilgore leads for our team. We started 5 years ago and we had 30 events and 250 songwriters. Today, you could almost call us Sevier County, because today we've gone from 250 songwriters to 1,200 songwriters and 50 events. Many of you are helping host those as we promote our songwriters, because music's so important to our branding. And then our vacation guide probably doesn't have anybody more in it than the folks in Sevier County and East Tennessee. We're just so thankful that Pete Rosenborough and our Welcome Center team helps distribute those 500,000 visitor guides that drive people. We want to tell people about the great assets in Tennessee, and because of what you do every day, we got great assets. It's our privilege and honor. Then I got to tell you a little bit of an update on Bill Dance. This is really a fun project. It's pretty cool hanging out with Bill Dance. What you find out is you can't hang out with just Bill Dance. 2 weeks ago on Saturday, we launched our Bill Dance Signature Lakes. Why? Because there's 10 million people that have fishing license just in the states that touch Tennessee. We'd like to get some of those people get a fishing license in Tennessee. Why? Because we've got great assets and we got Bill Dance and they don't. Fishing legend that he was, I can tell you, we cut the string. There was already 250 people lined up to get an autograph. Most waited 3 hours. We finally had to cut the line off after 5 hours. Bill didn't want to stop signing autographs. But again, we're going to be able to build a program around our fishing that we got to launch at the Bassmaster Classic. Here's just one more way that Tennessee keeps on outperforming everybody. Went to the Bassmaster Classic, was there for 3 days. The attendance record that Knoxville set 4 years ago had been broken by Anderson, South Carolina last year with 135,000 people. So Knoxville just re-broke that record with 163,000 people. It's the biggest tourism event that we've had so far this year in Tennessee. the most watched Bassmaster show, and that's right in Knoxville, and we know a number of those people also come because they want to enjoy Sevier County. Back to Bill Dance. Just in case you're wondering, hey, are y'all doing anything but just calling these lakes that have been out there, Bill Dance lakes, and you're going to, try to dress them up a little bit. Just want to make sure this is not lipstick on a pig. This is what I grew up with horses. This is a new feeding program for my horse and some brand new shoes. We put in over 1 million bluegill and walleye just in Douglas Lake, which is going to be one of ours in the last 2 years. 296 structures for habitat. I don't know fishing very well. Turns out there are these really complicated things you drop down in the water, and they're really good for fish to hide in and grow in. So we are spending about $15 million in those, what will be 18 lakes, to make them even greater fishing quality lakes so that we can be the best. And this is right next door to y'all at Douglas Lake, or at Dandridge Park. We're doing some parking areas. Last thing to cover for me, and then we'll do some Q&A, is infrastructure. Infrastructure about jobs. You heard us talk about what Commissioner Thomas and Brian and Wayne and Sarah Beth are going to be doing with a lot of you. We're going to actually have a task force in the East region that will try to be supporting, seeing how many partnerships and internships and other kinds of things that we can together help build to get more people in the workforce faster. Second is a little bit of an issue in Sevier County called roads and traffic and congestion. Just wanted you to know what Governor Lee is doing, and Deputy Governor and Commissioner Ely, he'll be here in Sevier County later this summer. We've spent several times bringing people in to hear the Sevier County story. Well, really excited because right now this looks like this is going to pass. It's gone through both committees and is well on its way. This is a big deal for Tennessee. $3 billion. That's the largest investment by a lot. Part of that, I say, is because we got so much visitor spending coming in. That lets us spend money on infrastructure. But I want you to know this $3 billion would be triple the investment typical for Tennessee. Why is that a big deal? Because you have access in your region with $750 million, with $300 million that'll be in the state aid program. Bad news about roads, and as I've gotten into this job and learned more, is it takes a long time to build interstates or exits, like decade kind of time. And y'all have got some assets that have come in and are creating traffic issues faster than we can build for them. But this passage is going to help us work on that faster than we would have gotten to do that. That's why Governor Lee, it's the biggest thing in the budget this year. Last year was education. This year's infrastructure, because we know for places like Sevier County and some of our others, you need this to increase your visitor spending. So I'll just hit this, my only other slide, but getting public and private partnerships, we believe, will speed up the amount of time that we can get a project done, unless just government does it. And it looks like the legislation has bought in. This is a big deal. Need to thank those who are voting for this, because it can mean hopefully faster, sooner. We can get projects done even more efficiently and effectively. We call it the NASCAR model, a pit car where 8 people are working on a car at the same time in a pit stop, instead of an assembly line where one does something and then they wait till the next and they wait till the next. So just want to tell you this is coming. It's going to take a while, but I want you to know you're being heard. You're being heard about the infrastructure challenges that you have in Sevier County, and we're trying to address that. We have to do that for all 95 counties. So how do we do that? We get more funding. And in closing, I'd just like to say that because of the work that you're doing, tourism is
Real money.
And I'm grateful for all that you're doing. If you hear one thing, it's that we are really, really on fire in Tennessee with our tourism business because of all the hard work that you are doing every day. Getting people, bringing them in, booking, taking care of millions and millions of visitors. Our accolades list for Sevier County is so long, it's hard to not talk about just business after business, or group after group, or attraction after attraction because of the work you're doing. So thank you so much. I think Sarah Beth's going to come up here and we'll take some Q&A if we can. Chris, you're going to help us? Is that
Yes, that's
right?
correct.
Okay. Blessings to you and look forward to some Q&A.
Throw it back and forth.
So you got blue shoes on. Is that for MTSU?
Always.
Okay. They're one of the top 50 best schools in Tennessee.
Uh-huh. Every time. Every
I've got
time.
the mic.
Every time. I feel like maybe
do we
you
have
have
some
like
questions? Can we get some questions? They said, do you want to plant some questions? I said, no. We'd really like to hear if you've got, general questions, specific questions, things you want to know about.
Questions, anyone? Here we go, Josh.
Could you give us an idea of when the completion time or time schedule for Bill Dance Lakes is?
Great question. So we launched 14 lakes to the public 2 weeks ago, which is really the website, and we got logos and a number of those things that allow us to announce to the World Bassmasters the Super Bowl. So it was the proper time to say we're coming. But signages will be coming out this summer for those 14 lakes. We got some ramps and some other things that are in this program that'll be the next year. We probably we got a couple of elements. We'll have a Bill Dance Friends and Family Foundation, and then in 24 we plan on launching a fishing championship that will be involved in our large reservoir lakes that are coming out. So it's going to be over the next year and a half. One lake, for example, we decided it's a small lake in a state park, and I didn't mention TWRA is putting in $8, $9, $10 million of this 15. State Parks is putting in money, so we've got a lot of people putting in money. One lake we've decided we might just drain it and redo it because we got the ability to bring it back even better. So some of those we're kind of doing. But our first stage is next year and a half, 14 to 18 lakes. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Put up your slide where you put on where we're advertising statewide or other states close by. Do we do anything for the state internationally?
Ooh,
Good question. Yes, we are in 20 countries this year. In fact, I think we got some folks. Raise your hand if you're going with us to Canada. We got Canada folks that are going with us. We have our first major activation in Toronto that's coming up this summer. We've not ever done any direct advertising into Canada. We think, again, Tennessee makes too much sense, whether it's a stop by and we can extend that or a destination that we can create. So we are doing Canada. We've also got an event in July where we will be doing with National Geographic. We'll be doing in London that activation. So the UK, Germany, Australia, Brazil are some of those. Ireland picks up a little bit. Those are the main ones across the pond, and then Canada. And then we've got access through Travel South. It's 12 southeastern states is how we go to the marketplace. And even with the Mississippi River country folks, we do some work in Japan. If you haven't been to the new Nashville airport, what you'll see is it's a world-class airport. That airport has gone from being in the 40s to in the 30s to this year is 24th. It is the fastest growing of the top 50 airports, and $2 billion can really make something look pretty nice. And if you haven't been in and seen it, we think that's going to translate into additional international flights. They've also expanded into Canada, as has Memphis. Memphis has spent $300 million recently. So we're working on those flights, and then certainly you get coverage through Knoxville, but also through Atlanta. Good question. International is really important. We're going to spend probably $2 million of new money this year just in our international marketing, because it's the one group that still hasn't come back. It's coming back Nashville especially has seen some great increases. But we know folks want to come to the Smokies. They want to get into Nashville or get into Atlanta and then get to this region, and we want to take advantage of it because they carry a lot of money.
Yep.
Commissioner, I wanted to say thank you so much for focusing on what we can do to help get more employees in this community. You know, we're all stretched really thin on that. And I'm so excited that Brian's here, and I wanted to make sure that everyone knew we are doing a luncheon on the 12th of April. Brian will be there along with 6 subject matter experts. So if you all have questions about what they're able to do for you and how they're able to help you, please plan to come to that on the 12th.
Here. Hey, can I grab
And
that?
before Sarah Beth says this, I'm not one of the subject matter experts. Here you go.
I don't even know why I'm up here. No, I wanted to echo that is, if y'all don't know Wayne Smith over here, Wayne, will you stand up? I think all of y'all know Wayne Smith by now. If you don't, you should meet him. I challenge you to ask him what his favorite song is before you leave today. He will be at the trade show all day, and let me just tell you, he likes funky music. No, he is our workforce development director as well as your membership sales rep for East Tennessee. He knows all about these amazing programs that we partner with AHLA and the NRA, whether it's Restaurant Ready, which is getting people who have been justice involved back into the workforce, or it's some of the apprenticeship programs that we're working with labor and workforce development. There's so many ways that we're trying to work with our partners and make sure that we get people back into the workforce. So please reach out to Wayne or reach out to Brian and talk to them about the initiatives that we're focused on right now.
And speaking of Wayne, just wanted to tell y'all that Wayne's better half, in fact, some could say much better half, Deborah
Sorry.
Smith is our new Assistant Commissioner of Marketing that we stole from Nashville. She'd been in the industry about 30 years and been there 20 years, and she is now leading our marketing efforts, and she is loving her time at Sevier County, isn't she, Wayne? She couldn't be here today, but she's been here in the last couple of weeks multiple times getting to visit with the folks. So we're excited to have Deborah Smith, Wayne's wife, and boss. I meant to say boss.
Boss, yeah.
And so we're excited to have Deborah leading our marketing team.
Absolutely.
Any more questions?
More
We're gonna
questions?
get over time, so we do have time for more
Yeah,
questions.
especially a hard question for Sarah Beth.
Absolutely. Bring it on. Tell a joke in the meantime. Do a little karaoke. Do a little karaoke.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, I'm kind of still formulating this question. I saw one specific slide about STRs, but you know, it's so natural when you're talking to, say, hoteliers and restaurateurs, and we're talking about lodging numbers. And I'm just wondering, when you're saying hoteliers, are you referring to like professional property management companies too? There's not really a term for us. Like we're like in pioneer phase over here across the country, but we work so closely with our community. We hire so many people directly in our community. We work with so many vendors and so many companies right in our community, and I just don't see the split between hotels and short-term rentals, and I think it's really important. And I think we as an industry need to come up with a term for ourselves. But when you're talking about lodging numbers and hoteliers, are you talking about professional property management companies as well?
Yeah,
Then
it's
I'll go.
yeah. From our perspective, a lot of the time it's combined because a lot of the numbers are based off the lodging tax that everyone pays, and we do not split that out. Actually, when we made the deal with Airbnb that all Airbnbs pay the hotel and motel tax, they just submit a check to the Department of Revenue. We don't actually know what that number is. So when we're talking about it from the tax income side, there's not a way to break it out unless Airbnb were to release those numbers themselves because they collect it and give it to the state of Tennessee. So when we're talking about it from the hotel and motel lodging tax side, it's all one number.
Okay, cool, thank you.
And kind of the same thing on the sales tax side, because these numbers are just the 7% sales tax. These are not even lodging tax. The one number of the 1.2 on short-term rentals is also a sales tax. Reason why is the state of Tennessee collects marketplace. So if you're Airbnb and VRBO, that is actually sent to the state of Tennessee for all 95 counties. If I'm Mark Ezell Enterprises as a short-term rental, I submit to my own county. And so Department of Revenue is very careful not to let us have any detail of individual accounts because they want to protect privacy.
Yep.
So we do keep short-term rentals as a separate number off the marketplace, and then STR certainly has its own measurement around hotels, and then we talk to the Department of Revenue. That answer was very confusing, but the Department of Revenue keeps up with lodging and with short-term rentals, and we have both of those numbers, but we don't have any distinguishing between whose hotel it is and some of those pieces, and whether that's a management company running it or it's a hotel chain.
And thank you so much for that feedback. But I do want to say, I want to say this very loud and clear. We are not Airbnb.
Right.
We are not Vrbo.
Yes.
We are professional property management companies, professional vacation rental companies in this town, in this industry. We are not Airbnb.
Yeah, and we agree, and we appreciate that. At the state level, we just collect the other. The other goes directly to the, is why we wouldn't have that data point, the counties would. But, I mean, no one, again, has got the number of short-term rentals in Tennessee that Sevier County does, that are non-Airbnb and VRBO, so we're very grateful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
I'll add to that too, Sara Beth. We do have a voice on Hospitality Tennessee for the overnight rentals as well, so we can talk about that. We do have that on our Hospitality Tennessee board as well. Any other questions?
Well, I'll just wrap up by saying we're about 3 weeks away from legislative session being over. It's been an interesting one, but please have me back later this year and I'll give you an update on what we were able to accomplish for everyone and kind of what we're focused on for the next year. You got any closing remarks, Commissioner?
Just mainly thank you. Really appreciate what you're doing every day. Our team at the department, we're supposed to be working for you. So let us know if there are things we need to be doing, but so grateful for the fact that you've got such awesome tourism leadership. We really kind of believe, we totally believe that local advertising is the best advertising. We think people come to stay at a particular place or to go to a particular attraction and enjoy that attraction. And so then they happen to be in a city and county like Sevier County that's going to take care of people. And then lastly, they're coming to the state of Tennessee. So our job is to support you and what you're trying to do, and you're doing it really well. So we're grateful.
Thanks.